What's up, YouTube? How's it going? I just want to make this quick video to talk about the more craziness in crypto. Talk about specifically the crash, the bounce. You know, it's almost like we forget that this is what crypto does, and all the FUD that was spread. So before I get into it, just smash the like button, hit subscribe if you like this content, if you want to get more crypto updates. I'm going to be producing more videos, doing more live, daily live sessions where I go on and talk about the prices and all that stuff and share my screen. And I might start doing some of those like fancy YouTuber videos where, they cut and they have, they're all well done, but that's coming down the line. Might get a studio set up, so excited for all that. But for now, I got my selfie stick, my cell phone, and the thoughts in my head. So that's all I need to get started, and we'll go from there. So did you check the prices today in crypto? If you took a break last week thinking, oh my gosh, this is just, my whole portfolio's down and it's just all over, and then you get in that mindset, and then if you woke up today and you look at the prices, everything was up. I remember looking at Polygon Matic, and it was down yesterday at like 86 cents. I think it touched 70 cents. Like everything had just erased every single gain, because Polygon was one of the ones that just like went red hot right before the crash, like 2 weeks ago. That's a long time. In the crypto world, it seems like it's a long time. But it was up over $2, Polygon, and just like on a tear. And then it was down at 86 cents yesterday. And I saw it and I just wasn't thinking, and I was like, man, wow, this is great. And then today it was back up 100%. And you might have noticed with a lot of the altcoins, right? They were back up, right? They were down, they had like gone down to where all their gains, just got another notification saying BAT, the basic attention token, which I really like because I use Brave Browser, has a product behind it. That was up 38%. So all these coins, they fell down with the crash, and a ton of money was taken out of the market, right? And what I learned is that, or some of the headlines saying that it was a lot of newer crypto investors, a lot of retail investors that perhaps were a little bit more susceptible to the FUD, right? And basically, like, I guess that were selling out. Like a lot of the newer investors were selling out. And if you look at it, it makes sense because a lot of the positions, the level that the markets dropped to was a similar level to what it was back in like February, January, for a lot of the coins before Bitcoin had its massive, upswing. And that was a level that, this year, crypto has been going on, but like this year, I know like I started paying more attention to it. And I know a lot of other people started paying more attention to it because Bitcoin went from, being like 20,000 to 30,000, then to 64,000, all-time highs, and everything was hitting all-time highs. So there was a lot of noise and chatter. You could feel it in all the groups too. Like Dogecoin was getting pumped up, and just like, crypto was just like reaching out, right? So it was becoming a part of everything. I remember a couple of real estate groups on Facebook, and people just kept on posting crypto things in there to where it became kind of a joke. It also kind of became annoying. Like people were like, is this a real estate group or is it a crypto group? So anyways, you have a lot of those people that are in it, and when the prices drop down, it makes sense that a lot of people could pull their money out and not have huge losses. Some people, if you bought up higher, in the past month, 2 months, you're sitting in a position and you didn't sell before the crash, which not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? This is educational. This is my opinion. I'm just doing the internet, so do your own research. But if you sold, that was great, but a lot of people didn't, which is totally fine. Like hodling, as you're seeing, things are bouncing back. The only problem is if you hodl and you don't sell, like it's a double-edged sword. Like, if you hodl, you might not have the money to reinvest. And like my money was tied up in a lot of stuff because I didn't sell out of my positions, and I had some money to reinvest in some cryptos, but I didn't have money to put in Polygon. And I didn't think about it. And then I look at the numbers today. Polygon's up 100%. So many other cryptos up 30, 40, 50%. And it was just wild. So that's going to keep happening. Like maybe not to this level. Maybe it will. Like we're going to have these drops. So don't worry too much if you don't get in, right? Don't chase as they say, buy low, sell high. Super simple phrase, a lot harder in practice. But if you look back, we've had these drops, periodically throughout this process. So if you miss one, if you miss a coin, it's okay. It's still early for most of the altcoins. Bitcoin's the main one. For Bitcoin, it's the least risky of all the coins. It controls the market, as evidenced by this crash. Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down. Bitcoin is the reason for these other coins' existence at this point in time. And until that changes, Bitcoin is Godzilla, right? It moves, everything else moves. It goes to sleep, the other ones come out to play. And it's like what they say, that when the cat's away, the mice come out to play. Those are the altcoins. And so Bitcoin is great to dollar cost average in. A tool, I highlighted this in my live video earlier, but called Swan Bitcoin, where you can just sign up and you can set how much money you want to buy of Bitcoin, and they'll dollar cost average in for you. It's set and forget it. So, if you're into the space, if you believe in it, that's a great way to make sure you're dollar cost averaging in, and you just have that stable investment. Like, it's just savings, right? So you can take a portion of your income, your paychecks, and be like, I want to put this towards saving, and I want to put this towards Bitcoin. Whatever it is, whatever you feel comfortable with. I think, you can go as low as like, $10 a week, something like that. And so just think about if that plays out, right, and if the market grows. So if you just dollar cost average in, and they have something on the chart, like if you put $50 a week in on their site for the past 3 years, you would have spent like $7,800, and it would be worth like $60,000. So that's pretty good. A 10x return on dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin at this point in time. That's not bad. So it just shows you the value, and especially if you're thinking you're too late, right? Like, we could have another crash. Like, it could go down, it could stabilize, it could trade sideways. So just like don't worry about it too much. Dollar cost average in, and you're just buying stakes in your future. So Bitcoin, that'd be something I recommend for that. All the other altcoins, like, they're still risky. Don't be chasing them. Like, if one spikes up, there's gonna be another one, because the way it works is like, as evidenced by by Dogecoin, and because we keep talking about it, but it's a great example. Is like, it doesn't really do anything that's significantly better than any other cryptos. So there's a lot of crypto that would perform any sort of function that someone wants out of Dogecoin. They would perform it better, except they don't have the branding or the hype around it. So what you see, especially with these smaller coins, is you see a lot of hype and the ease at which money can flow into them, because we can all just buy things with the touch of our thumb on our phone, right? And we all have our phones on us, and we're all plugged into it. So it's so easy to buy things. And Dogecoin had a larger network for a lot of coins, because it was on Robinhood. It was on, I forget where else, but Robinhood was the main one that it was on. And there's not many other cryptos on those platforms. Like, you have to go to exchanges, and then like there's cryptos that you might want, but aren't even out on exchanges, and there's harder ways to get them. So what happens is that, imagine like the market being pitch black, right? And you have all these altcoins imagine a circle, and then a black circle, and all the altcoins and stuff are scattered there. And then you have a spotlight, and the spotlight is like the influencers and media attention. And the spotlight just shines in the circle periodically, and it finds an altcoin, right? And then it hypes that altcoin up, and it kind of just goes around in a circle. And then then the spotlight moves and it goes to another coin, and then it moves and goes to another coin. And then also people, if it goes to a coin and people are invested in it, then they get gains, right? And then they kind of pull out of it, and that coin will stagnate and stuff. So it's just this process. So if prices are going up, don't worry too much about it, right? There'll be another one, especially now, because there's still so much competition in the altcoin space. There isn't any sort of clear winner in any sort of niche. Like, the niches are still being carved out, because most of those altcoins are fairly new. The ones that have been around, but they still haven't, like, they have like their use cases, but the whole crypto market as a whole hasn't really established itself as like, yes, this is what this coin does. This is the leader in this segment of the crypto market. Really, you only have Bitcoin, and then Ethereum is the next one. But even still with Ethereum, there's a lot more uncertainty with it. There's a lot of upgrades and stuff coming out that you don't know what's going to happen. There's competitors. There's no competitor to Bitcoin at this point in time for a store of value asset. So I think it's important to consider that. So all the coins spiked up today in price, which is great if you had positions. It's great if you are hodling and now you see your portfolio come back some. I know it feels good. It's also great because you now know that it's not all over. The market's not dead, right? That's where that FUD can really get you, because that's what, that's what the people who aren't invested in it, right, or have an investment in a industry or business that's threatened by crypto, they want you to feel that. They want you, and they want it too. I've talked about this before. It's like, before I got into it, I kind of resented crypto because it was one of those things where, had I like given it the time of day, I would have invested in it back like 5-10 years ago, and then be so much better off today than before, right? We all kind of have that story, and so it can build up a little bit of resentment. It's almost like if it's been this long and you said no to it this long, and you keep seeing people have success with it, you keep seeing it growing, at some point you either like say, okay, you know what, I was wrong, I need to really look into this and figure it out, or you still hold on and you're like, no, it's still like just a fad, it's still a bubble, it's gonna, it's not real, it's not gonna do anything, it's too risky, and you hold on to all these excuses and reasons and these false beliefs that have been put out there to protect yourself and protect your identity, to say that you made the right choice years ago when you decided not to get in. And it's not like you made the right or wrong choice at that point in time. It's just like you didn't know, right? You didn't have enough information. It wasn't presented to you in a way that you could understand and comprehend. And that's just part of it. Like, it's a growing industry, and like, I feel like in order for me to get into it, or for a lot of you to get into it, you have to have someone that you trust and know that like sits down and shows it to you. And I think that's for a lot of people, or you have to have like a lot of people talk about it to where you finally are like, okay, I'm gonna take the time to sit down and do it, because there is a time commitment to it to figure it out, because there's a lot of techno babble, and there's a lot of like, it's just different than how we're used to operating. So there's a lot of that's where a lot of that FUD comes from all the people that have spent all this time ignoring it, opposing it, protecting their own interests against it. And when it builds up, it can be annoying, right? Because you can imagine the owner of a real estate group on Facebook being like, guys, like, we're talking about real estate, not crypto. Like, we need to talk, like, the group is on real estate, not crypto. And there's overlap, but it can be frustrating. And so that's where you can get a lot of that FUD. And then you get the social anxiety when the price goes down, and people are like, people like to rub it in your face, or like to comment on that, be like, oh, it's all over, like, if Bitcoin is going to zero, it's worthless, I told you so. Like, it's what type of asset collapses by 50% in a week, and so there's all this FUD and all this stuff that comes out, and so it's really easy to fall victim to that, right? And think that you're on this sinking ship, or you're on this thing that is inevitably doomed, and that's scary. No one wants to commit no one wants to invest in something or commit themselves to something that's the loser, right? You don't want that, especially something that's new and very transformational. So there's all that fear. So I'm saying all this because that fear's there, but you have to zoom out, right? When these crashes happen, when a bunch of negative news, when FUD comes out, the reason why FUD is a word, that and hodl and buy the dip, the reason why these are words and things, because they've proven to be accurate over the past 10 years with crypto. And it's just important to realize that and zoom out and look at where it's going. It's not just going to collapse overnight. I mean, it could, right? And that's always the possibility, because we can't predict the future, and it's a new asset class, but I think one thing that it's shown is you see all these huge crashes, and I think Bitcoin had like 6 other crashes where it fell by like 40 to 50% over its 10-year history, and it keeps coming back. It's still here. It bounces back, and it's still here, and it's still, it still attracts money to it. And I don't think that's just going to end. I think that's part of the fear of bigger institutions, people with a lot of money. They're seeing this thing that they can't fully control. It's small now, right? It's a threat, but it's not a huge threat yet. and it's almost like the White Walkers in Game of Thrones to some extent, where like they know it's there, but it's far enough off that they can squabble amongst themselves and battle amongst themselves and for the throne, and then just kind of ignoring this existential threat and like sometimes paying it attention, but then not. So I feel like it's like that. It's like that type of situation where you have this thing that's growing, and people are really they kind of know what it is, but they're not quite sure what it's going to do, and they got their other problems and other things to worry about, so that they're like focusing on these other things and just like give it just the minimum amount of attention that is needed. And this plays out, and it's going to continue to play out as it becomes, but it's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and have a bigger impact on people. People are going to start putting their portion, more and more people are going to put a portion of their portfolios in it. Right? This is just going to keep happening, and it's really going to start to compound. So this is my belief. So looking forward on this, always zoom out for these crashes. Don't worry if you didn't get out of your position. Things are bouncing back. We're on an upward trajectory, right? More and more institutional interest is moving into this space. Ray Dalio, the founder of Bridgewater, one of the biggest hedge funds in the world, author of Principles, I highly recommend you read his book, publicly said he has Bitcoin after in the past not being a huge fan. So more and more of these people, Kevin O'Leary has Bitcoin, are going to start saying that they have it. And when someone's like, who's followed Kevin O'Leary or Ray Dalio for years, and they hear that they have Bitcoin, they're like, well, if Ray has Bitcoin, if Kevin's investing in Bitcoin, perhaps maybe I should start investing in Bitcoin. And this realization, this kind of awakening is happening. And as that happens, the network effects of that is just going to compound, and the amount of money that can go to this space will just multiply. And like, you haven't seen anything yet with 2 trillion, right? We're at like 1.6, 1.7 trillion now. So it was at 2.5. Like, this industry wants money. It's hungry for money, and money likes an industry hungry for money that's growing, because that makes the money grow, and money's going to move to where it grows, right? Because that's valuable, right? And so that's going to happen, and so if you get scared, if you get FUD, if prices go down, just take a step back. Don't sell all your stuff out in a panic. Just take a breather and wait a week, and things might bounce back. Think about how you can buy the dip, right? So don't let that psych you out. So I've been rambling for a bit. So I guess that's basically all I have. Just stay smart, do some research, read Ray Dalio's book. The market's going to bounce back, and it may still fluctuate some now, but there's a lot of potential. So with that, hopefully this was useful. Subscribe, hit the like button, comment below, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.